Learn today's latest news as it's finally confirmed and it's official. We have signed Christopher Nkunku and he'll sign for us next summer. To end things, we have even more massive updates and exciting news around Moukoko and our efforts to sign him in January. So today, we got a ton of things to break down, discuss and dive into. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, please share your thoughts and opinions below in the comment section too. But before we get into anything, I need to get one big plug out the way first. Today's video comes courtesy of friends of the channel in OneFootball. OneFootball, as I'm saying every single time, is the app to have if you're a football fan. For me, I just love how handy it is to find all the up-to-date information that I need around my football club. As you guys can see right here, we go to the homepage of OneFootball and already it's confirming the news behind Christopher Nkunku by literally sourcing all the best articles from across Europe. So there's always going to be a story that interests you or a story that you don't know about on OneFootball. So I definitely highly recommend that you guys download the app if you're a Chelsea fan. But before I end things, you guys, of course, right now with the World Cup currently undertaking place, now is the final opportunities to take part in the World Cup quiz. Of course, over 300,000 people have taken part. Very exciting quiz, test your football knowledge, have a little bit of fun. You know, what's the issue? You know what I mean? So as you guys can see, you'll find a link below in the description. Download OneFootball and help support the channel. So right now, let's discuss the breaking news of this morning and this afternoon. And we talk Christopher Nkunku. The news has come courtesy of Fabrizio Romano and he confirms the deal is over, it's done, it's official. We have officially signed Christopher Nkunku. And right now, you guys, I'm going to play you clips throughout the entirety of this news video so you can just familiarize yourself with his technique, his skill, his ability. I'll share some thoughts and opinions as the story goes on, but for you guys that have been watching me for a long time, you know that I've been admiring and calling for Christopher Nkunku for like over a year now, so I'm more than gassed by this news right now. But regardless, all documents have been signed, it's over, everything is 100% finalized. And the great news is that now when Nkunku joins us, he takes part on day one for pre-season, which is important. I've always felt like pre-season a lot of times has been an opportunity we tend to miss out on because by the time we finalize all our activities in the transfer window, most of these new signings don't have like any periods to like acclimatize to their surroundings, the new system, teammates, environment. And I just feel like when you start a season with all your players fully ready and fully understanding of each other, then you tend to have better seasons, in my opinion, personally. So this is great news that Nkunku will join up with his teammates on day one. Let's hope we can confirm some more signings before the next summer window period opens up. But for me, I guess it's time to share some thoughts and opinions. I put this tweet out, but I guess I can kind of expand on my ideas behind this tweet. But for me, I think that Nkunku is one of the most important signings we've made in the past decades. I think at this football club, there's always been like those like proper star guys that we've signed that have had like these incredible like transformational effects on the team. I'm looking at guys like Didier Drogba. I'm looking at players like Eden Hazard. I'm looking at players like N'Golo Kante. You could even argue for Thiago Silva as well too. I think for me, Nkunku is in that category and in that bracket. I mean, we're signing him before he's even reached his like peak years, which is around like 26 to 28. We're signing one of the hottest under 25 players in world football, a player that equally creates and equally scores, and I really stress that. That is a very rare skill to have, to be like that complete offensively. And I'm sure you guys are watching the clips as I'm just talking about the player and discussing the news today, but for a club like us that really does struggle when it comes to having players that can create something from nothing, from having players that can consistently play the final ball, that make the right decisions at the right time in the final third. This is very important for us to go to the next stage. A lot of times, listen, we spend big money on defenders, but realistically, you could have a back line consisting of the best defensive players in the world playing together, but if you don't have an attack that can take advantage, that can score, that can win you games, it kind of means nothing. For me though, the main discussion is going to center around how we actually use Nkunku. Now, a player like him is comfortable playing in every position in the final third. He can play up front as an attacking mid, he can drift to the left, drift to the right, and he can receive deeper as well too. With a player like this, you need to have a real strategy and plan on how you're going to unlock his best qualities to help improve the team. That is the most important thing here. And I think that with Nkunku, I just personally feel as he's been progressing at RB Leipzig, you know, when he first joined them, he was more of like a classic number 10. His creativity was the focal point behind his game. He'd get way more assists and he'd get goals. But as he's been developing and growing, he's been slowly advancing further and further up the field. And this season is like the best representation of how Nkunku has evolved to be like the most like, you know, complete offensive weapon. I mean, this season he's got around This season he scored 16 goals and he's got 3 assists in all competitions. Last season he got 35 goals and 20 assists in 52 appearances. So for me personally, I feel like Nkunku now is well equipped to lead from up front now and further influence the game from further forwards. But it's how Nkunku leads from the front that is very important for me, and I hope that we have the right system that will unlock those qualities and those skill sets. I mean, Nkunku isn't one of those guys that's going to hold the ball up. He's not going to be chasing for long balls in the air. He's a type of guy that has a starting position further forwards, but will regularly drift deeper. And for me, this is important to unlock that ability for Nkunku to influence from deeper. That's because Nkunku does his best stuff from deeper positions. I mean, for example, his ability in 1v1 situations, especially in tight situations in the field, is unparalleled in my opinion. I mean, he's got the skill set, he's very technical, he has the skills. And one like interesting part of his game is that if you're a team that looks to force the turnovers and create those attacking situations in the transitions, you want Nkunku being part of that attack, because this is where he just turns into a different guy completely in terms of that speed, his understanding of where to be on and off the ball, how he's able to run in behind defenses. And on top of that too, you're looking at unreal finishes, left foot, right foot with his head. You know, he has that French composure where when they're in tight situations on the field, they don't just react. They have that technical skill set and that composure to make the best decisions when situations are at their most tense and tight. And for me, when you're signing Nkunku, it's kind of like an admission that you're not going to be this like heavy possession style team. Under Thomas Tuchel, we'd have 65 to 70% possession, and when you're playing that type of game, the whole dynamic's a bit different. You know, the passing's a lot shorter, the game can be slower, etc, etc. But for me, we want to be a team that has a bit more balance, and I feel like under Graham Potter, one thing we've seen that's a bit more different to Thomas Tuchel is that we're looking to create a bit more on the transition, and that is like one of our main areas in which we want to break teams down and attack. And for me, that makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of players in the squad that would take advantage of being able to attack in the transition, and I think that if you can sign the right personnel alongside them, you know, guys like Nkunku, players like Leao, players that excel in these situations, this is where we can evolve and improve, and this is where Graham Potter can continue to create this like imprint in the team that he's trying to build very, very slowly. But personally, Nkunku has no weakness, and what I mean by that is that it's not like there's like a fundamental issue in his game that can be exploited upon. He doesn't have that. I mean, the guy's equally effective and the game's tight. He has playmaking abilities, he can play those passes between the lines, he can find teammates making runs off of him. For me, I think Kai Havertz could really benefit from a guy like Nkunku, because I've always felt like Havertz, even from watching him at Leverkusen, does his best stuff when he can play one touch and just pass and move into spaces. We have profiles in this team where if we sign the correct players in these next 2 windows, not only are we going to improve this team, but we're going to improve what we currently have as well too, which is the most important thing here. So what I can really say is welcome to Chelsea Football Club, Christopher Nkunku. You guys, let me know below if you want me to release a reaction video to Nkunku later tonight. If you want to see that, help me get at least like 300 likes in the first hour. So how do you guys feel about this news? Let me know below. So right now, let's end things by discussing the latest news behind our efforts to sign Youssoufa Moukoko this January. And to be fair, some of this news is looking quite promising. It's looking quite exciting, and these stories come courtesy of reports coming out from Germany, most notably from reporter Plettenberg. He's one of like the top Bundesliga reporters. But anyway, I don't know why I emphasize the Bunde so much. Don't let me get into that right now. But Moukoko, as we've now learned, is not close to agreeing a new contract extension with Dortmund. Now, currently, everything's in Dortmund's court right now. You know, Moukoko wants his future completed and guaranteed very, very soon. It's up to Dortmund to find the right package and give him the right assurances if they're really serious about keeping the player. But During the time where there's some uncertainty, it only makes sense that clubs like us and other clubs that have been reported to be showing interest in Moukoko, like Man United, like Liverpool, they will look to take advantage of this period right now. And for me, I think Dortmund are playing a very risky game. Anyway, his agent in Patrick Williams confirmed that he is not close to an extension with Dortmund. And as he said, I can confirm that we are not about to conclude a contract extension with Borussia Dortmund. A player like Yusufa is interesting for every top club in the world, especially when he is free and has a future in the German national team. I mean, of course, he took part in Germany's squad at the World Cup. He made an appearance there as well too. I mean, he is seen as one of the, premium, one of the best talents to come out from German football in how many years. Now, it has been reported that Dortmund have offered him around €5 million a season. Now, this hasn't necessarily been confirmed to be either false or true. I'd imagine that Dortmund don't want to release the offer publicly, because if they do that, other clubs know that they can easily eclipse whatever offer Dortmund are putting out. Is he asking for too much money? I mean, I'm at a point right now where the game has evolved. There's so much money in the sport that the players ultimately are the ones that create the interest and the buzz. And if there's more money in the game, it means that their percentages are worth more. I mean, Moukoko was earning a €1 million deal being a Nike representative from a teenager. So Nike aren't giving teens $1 million a year deals for nothing yet. We already know that we are willing to part with money in January to beat the competition and seal a deal for Moukoko right now. I think that when you show that type of agency towards players that you're really interested in, that's always the most impressive thing to try and entice them to sign for you. And now it does seem like we could be one of the favourites, considering that we are the favourites in the Premier League to sign him, and knowing the fact now that Barcelona potentially might not be competition in this window, because ideally they prefer to sign him on a free in the summer, which is a very risky game. We literally have 2 more weeks before this year ends, and for me, most times when I've seen players in these situations where they haven't agreed on a renewal before the year turns, most times they end up leaving. There's a reason behind why things haven't been agreed upon months prior. For me, I think it's a no-brainer to go for Moukoko. I think him, Endrick, Victor Roque, and a few of these guys will be the leading forwards of the new generation. To get them for a free right now is an absolute bargain right now, and I think he would complement what we're looking to build for the future. I mean, this is a forward that can beat his man, score all types of goals, and I can imagine the connection between him, Havertz, and Nkunku, potentially Leao if we can sign him, plus many others. Wow. We really are building a potential young super team in the making. A part of me does feel like Dortmund still have that small advantage, because just logically it does make sense to stay there when you're a teen, play at least 2-3 seasons there, and by the time you're 21 years old, every club in Europe is going to be after you, and Dortmund will earn big money and he'll earn even more. So I do get that as well too, but at the same time, he's got an opportunity to potentially be like the teen poster boy of the Premier League if we sign him. And for me, it's been a long time since we've had like a real strong superstar teen talent that's taken the Premier League by storm. I see it in the French league, in the German league, and in Spain, but not really in this country. And I think that it's time to change things up a bit, and let's make this move for Moukoko, in my opinion. So right now, you guys, they are the 2 big stories to drop today. Share your thoughts and opinions, and just on a quick note as well too, if you haven't seen Avatar 2, my guy, you need to go there as soon as possible. You need to watch it in 3D IMAX, and then you can thank me later, yeah? So on that note, I'm EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.